Hello, good evening. You're watching us live from the Gambia Radio and Television Services, and this is the news coming to you straight from Banjul, also coming up. The second batch of over 400 would-be pilgrims depart Banjul International Airport for the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Galvanizing an inclusive society, stakeholders attend a three-day awareness training on the African Disability Protocol, courtesy of the Gambia Federation for the Disabled. In the earliest period of this year's rainfall season, Rice Growers Association in Basse Damfa Kunda cluster harvested 7 hectares of dry lust 6 plus Narika rice variety at the Sise Farah rice field. And in the internationals, volunteers scrambled to evacuate civilians from the Linskak area as Russian troops close to the key battleground city in eastern Donbass region. And in Germany, a former SS corporal at Sanchon's concentration camp appears on trial with charges of being unnecessary to murder for the deaths of over 3,000 people between 1942 and 1945. Well, these and many other stories coming ahead in the next 40 minutes. I am Fatu Janimbai. Well, many thanks for joining us. Now, the second batch of over 400 would-be pilgrims on Monday afternoon depart Banjul International Airport for the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. This batch is the second and last to depart from Banjul International Airport for the spiritual journey to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Yorojalo tells us more.
This second batch of pilgrims, over 400 of them, left Banjul this afternoon to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia for the 2022 Hajj. They would have already been in Saudi if they were not forced to return to Banjul on Sunday night after 2 hours of flight. Mali closed their airspace against them, blaming Flying Nas Airline for not seeking permission to use it, forcing to flight en route to Banjul International Airport. According to scholars, the pilgrims are on a scared journey, a journey of a lifetime. Speaking to GRTS shortly before the departure, the Minister of Local Government, Lands and Religious Affairs, Honorable Serif Abasanyang, challenged the pilgrims to be good ambassadors of the Gambia in the Holy Land.
I've asked them to concentrate on the Hajj. Hajj has very fundamental areas that one should be very focused on. Never feel too shy, too proud to talk and to ask, and be very committed to the service you are really there for. Let's avoid to be distracted, and let's avoid rush. Let's concentrate and be steady and stable. That means always discuss and consult whenever there is doubt. And I advise them, let them protect whatever they have with them as their personal belongings. But again, let them also leave that of anybody else with them. That means protect yourself and protect others with their properties.
Members of the National Hajj Commission, Sheikh Ibrahim Jaju and Imam Ibrahim Cham, and the President of the Supreme Islamic Council, Sheikh Esa Dabo, reflect on the importance of performing Hajj in one's lifetime, describing the event as indeed joyful for pilgrims. For their part, the Managing Director of the Gambia International Airlines, Lamin Cham, the Chairman of Banjul Travel Agency, Serif Mari Tambedu, and Alaji Modu Juf of Orbit Travel Agency used the opportunity to advise the intending pilgrims whilst in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia to redouble their efforts in the worship of Allah during their stay in Saudi.
Seeing is believing. We have seen that, Alhamdulillah, the final Hajj flight is about to depart to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And then we can assure them that some good arrangements are put in place in Saudi Arabia. So on arrival there too, they will continue to perform all their Hajj rites without much difficulty. So we are assuring the nation once again that we will do our best as institutions to deliver to the Gambian people service that they expect. In fact, we will be glad to say that we will try to always deliver beyond their expectation.
We assure the people that they should pray for their relatives and families, and hopefully everything will go according to plan. And whoever talks to your pilgrim or relative, please advise them just to be patient. Hajj is all about patience, sabr, because it's not easy. It's a very blessed journey, a very fruitful religious obligation, but one needs forbearance and patience to be able to perform the rites.
It's a spiritual journey to fulfill one of the pillars of Islam, if affordable, health-wise and financially. And the lucky few, or the who are called upon are going to answer to the call of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we would ask the public to pray for us. We will also pray harder. We've been praying, but we'll pray harder for everybody and for the common good of the citizenry and our dear motherland, the Gambia, definitely.
With the lifting of a ban imposed on pilgrims as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, many in the Gambia and around the world are at ease again, looking forward to fulfilling all fundamental pillars of Islam. For GRTS News, this is Yero Jallo reporting.
And wishing all would-be pilgrims a very successful journey. The Gambia Federation for the Disabled organization is organizing a 3-day training to raise awareness on the African Disability Protocol. The Synergy, as Aminata Isanyang reports from Kololi, brought together stakeholders from various different institutions, and this is her report.
African Disability Protocol seeks to address challenges faced by the disability community and as well uplift their voices. A workshop is conducted to equip participants from various institutions to understand the African Disability Protocol.
African Disability Protocol exists to complement the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. It has captured all the provisions of UNCRPD. However, we are of the opinion that African Disability Protocol is indeed more detailed on African context than that of UNCRPD, in that the African Disability Protocol addresses overwhelmingly about women and girls with disabilities.
Representing the Ministry of Justice, Bafojeng highlighted government's commitment to the realization and protection of the rights of persons with disability.
It's one thing to sign and ratify and domesticate, and another thing to submit a report. And that's where we are today. That's where the question lies. When are we submitting our report? But I'm pleased to inform you that the government of the Gambia has really recognized the need to be in compliance with its international legal obligations. And that is why, if you look at the NDP, the National Development Plan 2018 to 2021, it's recognized that the Gambia has prioritized its reporting obligation or its compliance with international legal obligations, one of which is the submission of reports to treaty bodies. And of course, by that, this report is automatically included.
National Assembly member Mudlamin Bieber delved into the significance of inclusivity.
As concerned authorities, we believe it is always very important to make sure that as far as good laws are concerned, we must do whatever it takes for the issue of national interest to make sure that we are part of any initiative or any solution to make sure that there are laws that will always protect and promote the existence of people with disability in this country.
The 3-day workshop will significantly give stakeholders exposure to what the ADP entails and the need to expedite the signing and ratification of the protocol. Aminata Isanyang, GRTS.
Now moving on, the Minister of Environment and Delegation are gathering information on levels of projects being implemented under her ministry while assessing the state of the country's environment and natural resources. The tour party was in Central River Region North on Sunday. Ibrahim Ajala went along and he now tells us more.
Day 2 of the familiarization tour took the minister and delegation to Balangar Chairman, where a renewable energy project was launched. Elders of the community said the project enables them light up their homes and charge their mobile phones. They also appealed to government to construct the access road to the village and improve the community water supply system. The minister took note of the achievements and challenges, while urging the farming community to be aware of the importance of trees to the environment. From Balangar to Njau, where a multi-purpose facility funded under the Ecosystem-Based Adaptation Project is changing life for good. The project engages people of the community in production of useful commodities such as soap and charcoal using organic materials. They also plant seedlings to restore the lost vegetation cover. The minister and her team of experts said they were impressed with the progress of the project and called on the people of the area to continue the hard work for national development.
doomu réew bu nekk am nga cër ci dunday réew am nga cër ci doxalin réew kon yéen tey waa dëkk bi liñ def si doxalin réew mii nii man doy na ma.
From Njau to Buduk in the Nyanija district, where a tree planting project funded by the Global Environment Facility is taking shape. Elsewhere in Korikunda, an 8-hectare land area has been identified for a garden and training center for people in the area and beyond.
So we are implementing sustainable land management practices here, integrated natural resource management, but also biodiversity conservation. We are dealing with communities so that at least we can arrange with them and see how best we can establish new protected area in the same vein, addressing the hippo wildlife conflict that is impacting on the agriculture in this area.
Meanwhile, the minister and her team have also visited the Karantaba Forest Station, where over 8,000 seedlings of different trees are due for transplant into the forest. Ibrahim Ajal, GRTS News.
And from there, UNICEF Banjul office on Monday handed over assortment of information, technology and communication items to the Directorate of Children's Affairs under the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Welfare. Janke Ture attended the brief handing over ceremony and she now tells us more.
Children's Affairs for the work that we're doing in the country and for the children. Thank you.
That was the ICT items officially handed over to the Directorate of Children's Affairs by UNICEF. The donated ICT items are meant to enhance service delivery at the Children's Affairs Directorate. The gesture, according to UNICEF Child Protection Specialist Esther Cassell, shows UNICEF's commitment to support and work with Ministry of Gender, as well as encourage other stakeholders to support the ministry, parents and caregivers in protecting the rights of children.
These materials will go a long way in facilitating the coordination of work delivered by social workers throughout the country, but also of all stakeholders for a strong case management system and a child protection system. As you will agree with me, honorable peers, distinguished guests, coordination is a key in achieving results set for children.
The Director of Children's Affairs, Bintu K. Fati, noted that the donated ICT items will boost her directorate's efforts in collecting and managing data and information on children and their related matters.
With this generous support from the UNICEF to the government of the Gambia, this will go a long way in ensuring effective and efficient service dispensation towards children of the country. As this significant drive showcases the commitment of UNICEF in complementing the efforts of government in protecting children of the Gambia, we assure you our continuous partnership and collaboration in improving lives and livelihoods of children in the country.
The Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Welfare, Nde Marinjai, commended UNICEF for being a key partner to the ministry, noting that the gesture will go a long way to complement government's drive to holistically protect the interest and well-being of children in the Gambia and beyond.
UNICEF has been a key partner to this ministry. And this is not the first of its kind. I was made to understand that some time ago, last year also, we received some equipment from them geared towards child protection and social welfare activities. And we are more than grateful for you for complementing the efforts of the Gambia government in protecting the cream of our society, who are the children. We are all affected directly or indirectly when it comes to child protection. Be rest assured that the ministry will do everything possible to make sure that the welfare and the needs of the children are protected from the highest level.
The donation, which is not the first of its kind, will further strengthen ties between UNICEF and the Ministry of Gender. Janke Ture, GRTS News.
Now moving on, the President's International Award in partnership with the Regional Organizing Committee at the Governor's Office in Mansa Konko recently awarded 19 young people with silver medals after successfully completing various development skills training. Usman Balde tells us more.
The organization is affiliated to the Duke of Edinburgh Award Scheme in the United Kingdom, focusing on key areas such as behavioral and attitudinal focus, as well as training youths in enhancing their life and livelihoods. Speaking at the ceremony, the executive director of PIA, Seni Drame, explained the rationale behind the ceremony.
This is a very critical age in one's life. This is where young people will be transforming from adolescence into adulthood. And this is where so many young people will either make their life or break their life. And this is where when so many stakeholders will be fed up because of the exuberance and the energy of young people, so many stakeholders will walk away from their life. So this is the period where our program comes into their life. We give them very interesting, life-changing programs. So as they go through those programs, those activities, they get awards. The awards are at 3 levels. You have the bronze level, you have the silver level, you have the gold level. Almost all the activities are similar and the same. It is only the intensity. Because let's say when you say there's an activity called expedition or exploration. When you are doing an expedition program or an expedition activity at bronze level, you only trek for 24 kilometers. When you are doing an expedition at silver level, you trek for 24 kilometers. At gold, it's 80 kilometers. So we give them this life-changing program that will enable them to achieve an award. So once they achieve an award, we recognize their efforts and we celebrate them and we organize a ceremony for them to deliver those certificates for them.
Keba Dabo, the Deputy Governor of Lower River Region, spoke at length on the importance of TVEC education in national development.
Apart from this, the PIA empowers, build and develop them somewhat, get our youth and young people engaged in meaningful human capital development, and thereby discourages or alleviates crime, drug abuse, irregular migration, and fosters self-sustainability.
Mamadou G. Jallo, the Regional Director for Education in Lower River Region, reaffirmed his ministry's resolve in promoting the advancement of TVEC education in Lower River Region.
Plans are in high gear to start technical at lower basic to catch them young. I am proud to report that we have established the only technical senior secondary school at Tonya Taba in Jara West. These are all signs and manifestations to show that we are serious as far as TVEC education is concerned.
It could be recalled that this award ceremony was last held in the country in 2014, seen as a sign of motivating the youth in national development. The Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Youth and Sports, Sekou K. Sanyang, reiterated his ministry's commitment to organize the award annually.
This award creates opportunities for you, young people, develop your character, discover your respective purposes, and determine a brighter future for you, which is in line with national development. This is also in line with our priority development policies of government.
According to organizers, the Gold Award will be presided by the President of the Gambia, His Excellency Adama Barrow. Usman Balde, GRT.
Meanwhile, Rice Growers Association in Basse, Damfa Kunda cluster, through the support of the Rice Value Chain Transformation Project, have started harvesting the 7 hectares Orilost 6 plus Narika rice variety at the Sise Farah rice fields, while our Upper River Region correspondent Seidu Kamara covered the harvesting exercise, and he now brings us up to date.
The Farmer Growers Association in Damfa Kunda are harvesting their 7 hectares of Orilost 6 plus Narika rice at the Sise Farah rice field in the Tumana district. The regional coordinator of the Rice Value Chain Transformation Project in the Upper River Region, Ansumana Sise, said the farmers were given all the necessary support, including seeds, fertilizers, and technical advice through farmer field schools.
Today, we are harvesting the dry season, which is almost 45 hectares in URR. And we are expecting 225 tons of certified, good, fresh Oriolex 6 rice. As I am talking now, we have 35 communities preparing for the rain-fed production, and we are targeting 519 hectares of land with almost 2,000 farmers as beneficiaries. So as we are harvesting the dry season production, we are also plowing and cultivating the rain-fed production. So for this thing to be sustainable and enhanced, managed by the farmers, today all these people, each of them would have 1 plot, 2 plots, and they need and can do more than that.
The agri official emphasized the need to educate farmers with modern techniques to boost their productivity.
The rice value chain transformation project through the farmer field school structures, we enhance and support communities to establish association where they call Rice Growers Association. The seeds given to them, as we agreed, or among themselves, they agreed that now, if you take 10 kilos of seed, when you harvest, you pay back 10 kilos of seed to the association. They would manage that in their village store as food security. And the fertilizer, they agreed to sell it among themselves at $500 per bag. And the money would be saved into their account. So that in the future, they will be able to manage themselves. When they need fertilizer, they go to their account and withdraw money and buy fertilizer. If they need seeds, they have seeds in their store. In as much as the project, Rice Value Chain Transformation Project is concerned, during the project timeline, we'll give them certified seeds, both rainy season and dry season.
This vast land was cultivated by the Farmer Growers Association in Damfakunda with support from Rice Value Chain Transformation Project, an initiative aimed at boosting rice production in the country. Several farmers, including Mansa Jaite and Fode Sise, respectively, thank the project officials for supporting them.
Nyim farwa ma fansun joran soto folo. Nyim membe ma koyla, ebe ma koyla ishembo dam. Kabra simontila fo akodimala, fo girela, fo tarakitila. Na baro si sone anyawnya.
Yeto e ma koy man ankere sang. Nga faro sene ma ankere sang. Man turo sang. Nga na faro doku anyi nyata. Nkeli yem ma koy na faro doku ta anyi nyata. Faro bele ni nyata. Tentam farate jambi, fukar farate jang abekili. Kodo be membulu kolite membulu mola fara mambo nyoto. Faro be ni nyata.
The Rice Value Chain Transformation Project is working with communities to develop a standard system that will be sustainable even after the phasing out of the project. With these, Damfakunda farmers starting to enjoy the fruits of their labor. They are encouraging other farmers to embrace the new rice growing innovation. Seydou Kamara, reporting for Diatas News from Basse Upper River Region.
Well, time now to take our first break. When we return, we'll take a look at what else is making headline news beyond our shores. To stay with us.
Hello, Sister Nya here, and today we are doing the unboxing of the AfriCell 4G LTE CPE router. Yours yet? Here it is. All right, now let's do the unboxing of the AfriCell 4G CPE router. I do love the sound of opening new stuff. And this right here is a beauty. What you don't know is it also takes you for an extra 6 hours of charge when there's no power. No power, no problem. Get your CPE routers now at your nearest AfriCell outlet and thank me later.
Welcome back. And volunteers are scrambling to evacuate civilians from the Lishanka area as Russian troops close to the key battleground city in eastern Donbass. But some local residents refuse to evacuate, siding with Russia in the war. France 24 has more.
Only route to Lysychansk. As Russian forces bear down on the city which neighbors Severodonetsk, volunteers equipped with bulletproof vests make their way in to try and evacuate the civilians who remain.
This route is normally bombed, so we go through this forest.
Smoke billows on the outskirts of the city, and inside, barricades of destroyed cars and bombed buildings, remnants of Moscow's intense shelling. As the volunteers park their vans in Lysychansk, residents rush over to leave the city.
Push your bags right back.
A bomb killed our neighbors, so we're leaving. We're scared.
As the evacuation gets underway, some 15,000 of Lysychansk's residents are determined to stay in the city that now finds itself at the center of Russia's war with Ukraine. Pro-Russian civilians stand in the way of Ukrainian troops who are trying to evacuate residents. Tensions are high.
It's deportation. Deportation. Don't you see? They're kicking us out.
Ukrainian troops are faced with suspicion from the pro-Russian civilians, who were told by Kyiv's army they have 2 days to leave the city.
You're going to make us live under tents? Is that what you want?
Half accepted to leave, the others returning to their homes. Even despite the danger, this house was shelled 2 days ago. In Lysychansk, the majority who have stayed here are not in favor of Ukraine's army. They do not believe that Moscow is attacking the city and want Putin's army to be victorious in the war.
It's the Ukrainian army who are shooting at us. They are the ones killing our children.
We want to be united with the Russians. They're our friends, not the Germans in Europe. I want the Russians to win, because they'll take power here.
Around 10 civilians were evacuated from Lysychansk as Russia continues its advance on the key city in the Donbas region.
And in Germany, a former SS corporal at a particular concentration camp is on trial on charges of being an accessory to murder for the death of 3,518 people between 1942 and 1945. The verdict in the trial of 101-year-old Joseph Schütz is expected this week. Now, France 24 again.
He appears in court a free man, confronted by history. Josef Schütz is over a century old, and his trial is taking place 80 years after the crimes he is charged with. The former SS corporal stands accused of being an accessory to the murder of 3,518 prisoners in a Nazi concentration camp. He's kept silent throughout proceedings, but for the lawyers of the civil parties to the suit, that's not what counts the most.
What's special about this suit is that for decades the German justice system did nothing of the sort. It's only since 2018-2019 that it's been possible again.
The victims we represent all share the same objective, that we continue to talk about what's happened in the concentration camps, that we maintain that memory, and in the end we're able to deliver a fair verdict.
The trial is taking place in a gym converted into a courtroom so that the accused would not have to travel from home. The prosecution says Schütz, the oldest ever person accused of Nazi crimes, served as a guard between 1942 and 45 in the Sachsenhausen camp north of Berlin, a period the accused still refuses to discuss, even though German justice has now caught up with him. For the Central Office for the Investigation of Nazi Crimes in the southern town of Ludwigsburg, the hunt for war criminals must go on.
This is our main archive, which contains some 1.8 million files. It's here that we start every investigation at the National Center in Ludwigsburg. Here you can find all of the accused, the witnesses, and evidence gathered since 1958.
Since its creation in the late 50s, the center's prosecutors have had the task of chasing down Nazi war criminals. They've undertaken 130,000 procedures and 7,000 preliminary investigations, including the famous Auschwitz trials in the 60s. But they marked the end of the big trials of Nazi war criminals. It was only with the case of John Demjanjuk, a former guard in the Sobibor camp, that the wheels of justice began to turn again. Since then, courts can condemn people for war crimes if they helped operate the camps, and so the Nazi hunters are now racing against the clock.
The Demjanjuk case got us started working on concentration camps again, where systematic crimes occurred. We carefully analysed all the personal documents. Soon we won't be able to find any living criminals, and that's why we are working with special care on these cases.
A justice delayed, but which still made it possible to condemn 4 former SS members for being accessories to murder, to sentences usually only symbolic given their age. Josef Schutz is also accused of having helped the Nazi killing machine operate as a camp guard in Sachsenhausen. Of the 200,000 people sent there, political prisoners, Jews, gays, and Soviet POWs, more than a quarter were killed. So for this historian working at the memorial at Sachsenhausen, the trial isn't just about keeping memory alive.
It's an important signal in the current political context in Ukraine, with war crimes being committed again in Europe. It shows that in a democracy, the prosecution of such people can happen a long time after the crimes were committed. This is due to post-war history, to the history of the justice system, but it will happen one day or another. So victims or descendants of victims can count on that, and criminals had better be ready for it.
The prosecutor is asking for a 5-year prison sentence for Josef Schutz. Some 10 other investigations are underway against alleged Nazi war criminals. All of them are over 90 years old.
Well, that brings us to the end of this edition of the news here in GRTS. But before we go, a quick reminder of our top stories once again. The second batch of over 400 would-be pilgrims have departed Banjul International Airport for the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Galvanizing an inclusive society, stakeholders are attending a 3-day awareness training on the African Disability Protocol, courtesy of the Gambia Federation for the Disabled. And in the earliest period of this year's rainfall season, Rice Growers Association in Basse Damfa Kunda cluster are harvesting 7 hectares of Orilust 6 plus Narika rice variety at the Sisefara rice field. And in the internationals, volunteers are scrambling to evacuate civilians from the Linshank area as Russian troops close to the key battleground city in eastern Donbass. And in Germany, a former SS corporal at a particular concentration camp is appearing on trial with charges of being an accessory to murder for the deaths of over 3,000 people between 1942 and 1945. And that's it from me, Fatu Janibai, on behalf of the entire news team. Many thanks for watching, and I'll see you again at 2200 hours for another edition of the news.